On today's show, Denver and Jokic get a win in Utah, but not one I feel great about. And I don't feel super great about the way Jokic even looked in this one.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
And welcome, Locked On NBA Game Night. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Joining me, as always, from Locked On Bucks. What'd you see in the NBA tonight, Camille Davis?
I saw a lot of home teams getting disrespected in their own home arena tonight. That's what I saw. It was all about the road teams.
All road winners. In this one, we had, just like on any normal Monday now, a wild, weird night in the NBA. We had a player get ejected who has not even debuted for the team yet. His first stat in any contest is an ejection. A technical ejection for Trae Young. We'll talk about that one. We'll talk about Giannis' return from injury, and they lose to the Jalen Brownless Celtics. Camille's got to explain that one to me a little later. Then we'll talk about Darius Garland's debut for the Clippers. That one ends in a win, but I think we got to start with this one first, Camille. Denver and Jamal Murray, I won't even say Jokic, Denver Jamal Murray get the win against the Utah Jazz, and it was kind of a confusing one because they played them real close. It was close like almost the whole game, and it came down to the final few minutes where some controversial calls had to happen. And let's hear from Ryan Blackburn of Locked On Nuggets on how the Nuggets came away with this win.
Surprisingly difficult game for Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and the Denver Nuggets on the second night of a back-to-back in Utah. I'm Ryan Blackburn of Locked On Nuggets. I want to tell you a little bit about Denver's struggles in clutch time. It was a stressor at the end of this one as Keonte George and the Utah Jazz continued to dice up Denver's horrible defense. But Jamal Murray had 45. He was incredible in this game. Nikola Jokic, not incredible really on either end of the floor. This was a pretty stressing Nikola Jokic game. His effort on both ends was a little bit shaky. He struggled at the end trying to battle for position, but ultimately got a clean block against Keonte George in the clutch. George missed a key three late. Denver escapes with a victory. This one isn't going to make Nuggets fans feel any better, but it does help them get off their schneid of being horrible in the clutch so far this season.
Yeah, this is going to be a weird one because Jokic fighting for position is definitely a good way to put it, because in this game, they were being so physical with him. The Jazz were just like grabbing and pushing and pulling and doing anything they can, and it really got to Jokic. You could tell at certain moments of this game, it got to him. There were two instances where he's fighting for position with a player. They're boxing him out, like straight up, like back to front, basically. And he leans over the top of them and just falls down on like over the top of them. Just a weird night for Jokic. 22 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, 2 blocks. Still a really good game statistically for just pretty much 99% of NBA players out there. But 4 fouls in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. Just some frustration issues there. And Jamal Murray, 45 points on 19 shots. Absolutely incredible. He's one of the reasons why they got this done. But the Jokic picking up his 5th foul with 6:21 left in the game. He comes back in, and then there's just all this complaining about calls that weren't there. And then finally, the final call of the game, basically, Keyonte drove. Jokic, they called it a foul on him. Denver challenged it. They overturned it. It basically gave Denver the win because it wasn't a layup or even free throws for Keonte George on that foul. Do you think that should have been a foul, Camille?
It looked like a foul in real time. See, and that's the thing too. When they slowed it down, I was like, okay, maybe he got a little bit more ball than anything else here. That wasn't even the call for me in the game where I was like, that one didn't like it, because I was like, I can get how you can overturn that one. It looked like more ball than anything. But the one before that play with the free throw where it was him and Filipowski entangled up and they called the foul on Philip, like that one, that was the one for me where I was like, there's no way.
Jamal Murray gets a shooting foul, which that one, I was listening on the Jazz broadcast, and the Jazz broadcast were like, that's not a foul. And I was like, well, his right hand is not a foul, but his left hand swiped down on his chest. Like, I think we got to count that one. So you're thinking, all right, the offhand is the one that was the foul on that one. Jokic and Filipowski are on the right block, and they both fall down. Like it was another one where Jokic like falls like over the top of another player, and they didn't even like look at it. I think I even wrote in my notes review, like waiting for the review to happen, and they never reviewed it. They just said it was a foul on Filipowski, and like Jokic got to the free throw line. He missed a free throw, which was kind of big there. Utah calls a timeout, and then you get the drive, and then the overturned call on that one, where Jokic did do the little thing where he pushes his left arm, like the off arm, into the driver in the air, and that's where I thought they were going to get him. It's like, yeah, that is a foul because you pushed a guy in the air with your off arm, but they called it incidental contact, and they decided that wasn't going to be a foul.
And that's one of the ones for this one. Like, I don't like inconsistent refereeing. Like, whatever you're going to call or not call, make sure you're doing that on both sides. So to go from a play where, as you pointed out, the prior one, the foul on Jamal Murray, where it's like offhand is contact here, and now Murray goes to the line and you see that. If that's the way you're calling it, then like it would make sense for that final one on Keyonte to be a foul. But like I said, if it didn't look like one to me watching the replay, but also initially I didn't think that the foul on Jamal Murray should have been called.
Yeah. Well, Jamal Murray's was a straight up and down jump shot, and then Keonte George's was a drive like left into the contact, like try and finish. So that's how maybe those were different. But either way, on any of these calls, like that's the controversial calls. I did not feel good about the Nuggets winning this game. They win. They get one of the most efficient 45-point games in the entire season, which I think I saw Real Sports post the most efficient 45 or better games this season. They're all Nuggets. It's kind of wild that they've had incredible games this season. But man, it took that much. They didn't have some players in this game. They didn't have Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson, Cam Johnson, but the Jazz didn't have Lauri Markkanen, Jaren Jackson Jr., Walker Kessler, Nurkic's note. They didn't have anything. They didn't have any of those guys in this one. And so, I don't know. You feel better about the Jazz or you feel worse about the Nuggets after that one?
Ooh, well, I already felt pretty good about the Jazz. This is a team I think is going to be a decently good team at the very least as soon as next season, maybe 2 years out from now. But like the Jazz are projecting to be a good basketball team in large part because of the jump that Keonte George has taken. Yeah. Also acquiring Jaren Jackson Jr. to pair him with Lauri Markkanen. And then you have Walker Kessler who can come back and be that center for this group. Like I like what they're building in Utah. So like, it's one of like the best losses you can have as a Utah fan, where it's like we tried, we were out there playing effort. The game was exciting and came down to the clutch. We saw our new young, star Keonte George go toe for toe with Jamal Murray. Like you live with it. You feel good about that, but it also ended in a loss, and you're trying to do what you can to keep that draft pick and move up in the lottery. So it's a perfect situation for Utah. For Denver, that's one of those ones where it's like, hey, this cannot become habit. Like sometimes you overlook an opponent. Sometimes you have a bad night. Luckily for them, they had a Jamal Murray to come through and kind of save them down the stretch here, because of what he did in the third quarter in particular, going to the fourth, 28 of his 45 coming in the second half. Like they should thank their lucky stars for Jamal Murray being on that team.
Yeah, this was definitely a March malaise game where you're just like, oh, can they just get through this one with the win? And honestly, at the end of the season, the W is all that's going to matter for the Denver Nuggets, I think, in this one. On the Jazz side, shout out to, obviously, Keonte George. We can talk about him. 36 points on 22 shots. Shout out to Ace Bailey, too. 18 points in this one. And he was competing his ass off on defense, I thought, in this game. Like, it was just really good to see. Jaren Jackson Jr., Lauri Markkanen were on the bench loving it. Like, I just thought that was really cool to see. He's kind of had an up and down rookie season. He hasn't really popped like some of the other rookies. The top four are getting a ton of love all over the place. But I thought this was a good game for him, even though it wasn't super efficient shooting wise. But I thought it was a good game from him. Let's hear from David Locke from Locked On Jazz. What did he think about this one?
Quite the same as Jamal Murray against Donovan Mitchell in the bubble in the COVID world, but it felt awfully close as all-star Jamal Murray and upstart Keonte George went dueling tonight in the fourth quarter between the Utah Jazz and the Denver Nuggets in a game the Nuggets pulled off 128-125. David Locke of Locked On Jazz. Jamal Murray at 45 tonight as Nikola Jokic was visibly bothered by the Jazz defensive scheme straight out of the Oklahoma City playbook of putting a small guy into Jokic's legs and making it hard for him to make catches. And instead, Jamal Murray carried the load, going 13 of 18, 8 of 13 from three for 45 points for the Canadian All-Star. but it was Keonte George, second game back from his sprained ankle, that matched him. 14 of 25 from the field, 36 points, scored 10 straight at one point, and the Jazz and the Nuggets went all the way to the wire. The Nuggets have lost 2 in a row with a murderous schedule coming up, and we're desperate to win tonight on the back end of a back-to-back, and we're able to pull it off 128 to 125. Strong night for Kyle Filipowski. He had 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists tonight in just 29 minutes, and Ace Bailey had 18 points for the Jazz in this one as well. A good matchup. Jokic script has been built. People are going to put smalls on Jokic, get into his body, double the other spots. It's what Oklahoma City did. It's what Utah did tonight. It's what Denver's going to have to find an answer to. It's an easier answer when they have their full roster.
They've got to figure that one out. Go listen to Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Jazz for more on those teams. Coming up, let's talk about Darius Garland's debut. Came off the bench, didn't look that great, but the Clippers still get a big win. Talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Game Night continues next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up. You've got injured players all over the place not playing. And when you've got jobs sitting open, you've got to figure out how to make the right hire. That is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed is sponsored jobs. They help you reach the right people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post and finds you somehow. You get targeted people that are actually a fit for your job. Here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed. In a minute, 27 in a minute. According to Indeed data worldwide, listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help you get your job the premium status it deserves. Go to Indeed.com/podcast. That's the URL. Indeed.com/podcast. And that's how you can tell them that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night, being part of the show, listening every single day. Appreciate you for checking out the show. We have a daily show that covers your favorite team. Locked On Mavericks.supercast.com, Locked On Bucks.supercast.com, Locked On Jazz.supercast.com. You can get ad-free episodes of all those shows on those. $5 a month, $50 a year. You can do that on the Everydayers Club over there for any of those shows. Links in the description for all that. All right, Camille, let's talk about this next game because the LA Clippers get a win against the Golden State Warriors, in quotes. Like, no Jimmy Butler, no Steph Curry, like Draymond played, but just starting to feel like they're slowly not the Warriors anymore when you watch this team. Like, we talked about them last week, where it's just like this list of just like a guy, Nate Williams, had 18 points.
He looked good during his time.
He looked all right. But the Clippers get a win. It's Darius Garland's debut in this one. He comes off the bench for the first time since 2021. He's come off the bench, which I found kind of interesting. 12 points, 2 assists, had 5 turnovers, and I thought those turnovers told the story early in the first half. Like in that first quarter, I think he had 3 turnovers in that first. He just looked like he was tentative. I think Austin Rivers even pointed out on the broadcast there was a couple moves, like dribble moves he was making that was just like trying to feel out what he was even doing on the court there. And so not the best debut where you're feeling like, oh, this is an incredible move for the Clippers, but it's going to take a minute for him to feel out his role on this Clippers team.
Yeah, and he's a guard that I think is a real big rhythm guy too, with just his style of play, the way he likes to kind of probe and get to his spots. Plus being a point guard heading to a brand new team, trying to understand where everyone else's spots on the court are, where you're trying to work yourself into finding your spot so that you're comfortable. It can be a lot. It can be a big adjustment. And initially when I saw that he was coming off the bench, I was like, you don't want to try to get as many minutes with Kawhi as possible. But then thinking about it and hearing the explanation of like, well, hey, actually, we just kind of want to make sure that when Darius checks in the game, he doesn't have to worry about getting other, like he can just kind of focus on himself, doesn't have to worry about Kawhi. He can kind of run the unit, and just getting him the run, I think, was important. Getting on the floor was important. And also seeing him play better in the second half, I think was the most encouraging part, because of course he's going to have rust, but in the second half, that's when he looked a lot more like Darius Garland. I was like, okay, I can see the vision of this coming together.
Yeah, and it wasn't like he hasn't been playing in like, a month or so, and so
Right.
or longer than that. It's been a little while. So he had the rust from the injury, brand new team, the expectations there, got traded for James Harden. Like that was a really big move, and one of the youngest All-Stars to be like traded mid-season since one that was maybe big and recent, but those stars don't get traded that often, and so this was kind of like the Cavs basically said, we don't believe in you anymore. And so he's got to overcome that. He's got to overcome the injury coming back from that. Like, there's a lot riding on a debut like this. Clippers are still rolling though, and mostly because of their defense, man. Second half for the Warriors, they just didn't have anything going at all. They scored 45 points, 15 of 46 from the field, 32% from the field shooting. I'm not surprised really, because this Warriors offense, you're trying to figure out who they are, and they're running the system. You can tell lots of passes, lots of things, the ball's flying around, 26 assists, 36 field goals. Kind of makes sense. It's like, all right, everybody's they're trying to make sure everybody eats in a way. Like their whole all their guys on their bench that got minutes all got 8 shots. Santos, Pat Spencer, Nate Williams, Quinn Post all got 8 shots exactly, which I find funny. But they just don't have it. I mean, without Steph and Butler, this team just makes no sense.
It's hard. Like that's where a lot of your offense is coming from. So like now you're trying to emulate the system that is designed to really maximize what Steph Curry does without Steph Curry being in the lineup.
Yeah.
And in the game, first half, I was like, hey, is this going to be a game where it's like, hey, Podziemski, where it's like, hey, Pods is finally going to have himself a game. Like at halftime, it was looking like you supposed to have a game.
At halftime, I was like, is that a count that said not tweeting until Podziemski scores 30 points? Is he finally going to be able to tweet?
I was like 20 at halftime, 8 of 12 from the field. I was like, hey, it looks like that first 30 ball is coming. But then second half, what is his stats? Pods went 1 of 6 from the field 2 points in the second half. Like the offense just dried up in the second half, where your leading scorer in the second half was Nate Williams, who we were just talking about. It was Nate Williams who scored 13 points in the second half, and then Al Horford, who had 11 points in the second half. No one else scored in double figures for the Warriors in the second half.
Yeah, Quentin Post had 6 points. Nobody else had more than 2 made field goals in the second half. Do you think if they asked Charles Barkley who he played for, they said Nate Williams, he would like say he's a wide receiver for like the Seahawks or something?
Well, I think he would use the context clues and be like, well, he's on some NBA team.
I don't know. I think he'd be like, you guys are trying to pull one over on me. This is ridiculous.
Like he doesn't even exist.
Like this is a wide receiver name. Yeah. Go listen to Locked On Clippers for more on Darius Garland's debut. Darian seemed pretty excited about that one. Chuck Walter of Locked On Warriors did not seem excited about that, but go listen to that show for more on the future of the Warriors, because there's a lot of things they got to sort out. The Bucks have a lot of things they got to sort out too, Camille Davis. The Celtics get the win. So let's just go with the Celtics real quick. John Corrales, how did the Celtics get this win? Because they didn't have Jaylen Brown. They didn't have Neemias Queta. Tatum still has not made his return. This was Giannis's return though for the Bucks. Weird one.
Boston Celtics blow out the Milwaukee Bucks, and it's all about Hugo Gonzalez. I'm John Corrales from the Locked On Celtics podcast. Hugo gets his 3rd career start, and the rookie drops 18 points and 16 rebounds, both career highs. I am so high on this kid. I think he's going to be a huge part of Boston's future, and he showed a lot of why. He just has great instincts on both ends of the floor. He blocked 2 shots, had 3 steals, so he did it on both ends, which is an incredible performance. I'll be gushing a lot about it on the Locked On Celtics podcast, but the energy that he brought, contagious. The Celtics, no Jaylen Brown, no Neemias Queta on the back-to-back and 5th game in 7 nights, and they still brought an incredible amount of energy. Baylor Shireman, Sam Hauser, Derek White, everybody that went out there and played. Luka Garza was a beast, 7 offensive rebounds. They just came in and played really, really hard on a night where you wouldn't expect that. And Peyton Pritchard led the scoring. You had 6 Celtics in double figures. Pritchard had a couple of really rough shooting nights, scoring nights. Coming off a scoreless night, he put up 25. So Celtics just continue to impress. Anytime there's an excuse that you think the Celtics might take, they just impressively refuse to take that excuse. I'll be talking about it all on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Man.
Camille, what's the excuse the Bucks have for losing to an all-white starting lineup, by the way?
They don't have one. They don't have one. Like John mentioned, the Celtics were playing their 5th game in 7 days. The Bucks were coming off the second half of back-to-back too, but so was Boston. The Bucks had to just take a little bus ride from Chicago back up to Milwaukee, and they had an early game. They got back into town far before the Celtics did at like 2 a.m., after their game against Philly. So it's one of those games where it's disappointing, especially because the effort in the last 2 games for the Bucks have been disappointing. They got blown out by the Knicks, 29 by the Knicks, that's like, okay, we kind of expect that. The Knicks are one of the top teams in the East. You don't have Giannis, woo, woo, woo. But then you lose by 23 to the Bulls yesterday when you were up. And then the Bulls rattle off a 27-0 run, and then the game is just flipped. And then you play a Celtics team that's shorthanded, and you lose by 27 on the night where Giannis returns. This has been an unserious basketball team for the season. You pair that with bad coaching, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
I got more questions. I got too many questions about this Bucks game. So coming up, we'll talk more about how the Bucks lost. Why did Ousmane Dieng start? Why is Ryan Rollins coming off the bench? Did Kyle Kuzma get a DNP CD? So many different questions for the Bucks. So we'll talk about that. And Trae Young getting ejected coming up. Locked On NBA Game Night continues next. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Game Night brought to you by BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. March is a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry, like Camille carrying me on this show. At work, in relationships and families, and in all the unseen roles they step in every single day. It's easy to celebrate that strength, but it's just as important to make space for their emotional well-being, and that's why if you want to be better for the people in your life that have made you better, like my mom, my sister, people around me that have made me better, I want to be better for them. In all honesty, that goes for all of us. We want to try to be better for them. You can do that. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA. You can also do a whole bunch of stuff with BetterHelp. You can switch your therapist whenever you want, because sometimes you don't vibe with somebody, or maybe sometimes somebody says something that just doesn't really vibe with you. I have a religious background, and I needed somebody that understood what that is like. And so it took me a couple times to find somebody that actually understood that. And so sign up for BetterHelp. BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA is the code, and sign up for BetterHelp today. Also brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook, all kinds of things that you can use to get into the action. College basketball nonstop. There's all kinds of energy, high action. Several of us on this show today are going to be focusing on college basketball a lot because of the draft coming up. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with the college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits. Go check it out and go see what you can get. I've been following the Rookie of the Year watch for sure. Con Knipple this week took Cooper Flagg over for Rookie of the Year odds. He is now the favorite to win Rookie of the Year on FanDuel. Cooper Flagg has fallen down. VJ Edgecombe is like plus 10,000. He's like, there's no way he's going to get that. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Game Night. I want to talk more about this Bucks and Celtics game. We talked about how the Celtics got the win. John Krause told the stat, but the Bucks getting this loss. Giannis' return. He plays 25 minutes, which is not abnormal. It's right about it. They said it was going to be on a minutes restriction. Right. But the moving around of the roster, another new starting lineup for them. They start Ousmane Dieng, which is his second start for the Bucks. They kept talking about how, on the broadcast, they were talking about how the Giannis and Ousmane Dieng have got this chemistry in practice, and they kept talking about that. But Ryan Rollins off the bench, Kyle Kuzma, DNP CD. Like, explain to me what's going on with the Bucks rotations and starting lineup right now for somebody that has not been dialed in on the Bucks as much as you have.
You're trying to ask me to make sense of the senseless, Nick. But what I will say is this: I think the starting Ousmane Dieng is something that I was hoping the Bucks would do. And was surprised to actually see them do it, because he is like the only wing the Bucks have on their team that has actual positional size outside of Kyle Kuzma, who has been used as a 4 in addition to being like a wing player. But what Dieng has is that he has the ability to shoot. So when you're pairing someone next to Giannis, you want to try to space the floor as much as possible. So seeing Dieng get that run, I was actually very happy and pleased about that. Really surprised that Kuzma got a DNP, especially seeing like a Gary Harris getting the game in the first quarter over Kyle Kuzma, because for all of the faults that you want to put on Kyle Kuzma's game, and many of them are well deserved, right? This season for the Bucks, Kuzma has done what was asked of him. He has cut out so many of like the crazy mid-range step back shots. He has been very diligent about trying to score either at the rim or on a 3-point, ideally a catch and shoot situation. He has been playing defense. He's been a secondary playmaker. And again, not perfect all the time, but completely surprised me that he got no tick whatsoever in this game. To me, and we talked about it on Locked On Bucks, it feels like the Bucks are kind of desperate right now. And they're just trying stuff and nothing is working at the moment.
Yeah, they got overtaken by the Hornets. Like this is a strange position for them to be in. Explain the Ryan Rollins piece to me. What's his role going up and down for?
Yeah, I think for that backcourt, the Bucks have been starting the 3 small guards. So they've been starting Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, and AJ Green together. But AJ Green is not a small forward. AJ Green is a shooting guard who's been playing out of position. And once Giannis came back, I knew it was either going to be one of Kevin Porter Jr. or Ryan Rollins heading back to the bench, because AJ Green is one of those guys who game fits so perfectly next to Giannis with his shooting threat, even though he only took 3 shots this entire game against the Celtics. But you have to put someone on the bench, and Ryan Rollins happened to be that guy. For a stretch in the season there, it was Rollins starting with AJ Green next to Giannis, but KPJ has been playing some really good basketball as of late, doing a really good job with the assist and his decision-making. So he got the starting nod over Ryan Rollins in this situation.
And then had 2 assists to 3 turnovers.
Right. Just looked unsure. Like the chemistry was off. It seemed like they just got to readjust to playing with Giannis again.
The chemistry doesn't seem to be off in Washington at all. Their team is going, and they got players who haven't even suited up for them yet that are going to bat for for each other. This is what happened in this breakdown. So third quarter, they're going back and forth, but Houston started to pull away at the end of the first half. They basically had like a 10-15 point lead all throughout the third quarter. Bub Carrington steals the ball from Kevin Durant. Jameer Watkins throws an alley-oop to Bilal Coulibaly. Watkins then screams in Tari Eason's face under the rim. Tari Eason takes umbrage on that and then like kind of throws his head forward at that, like lunges his head forward at him, like, oh, like really? You're gonna do that? And then at half court, Tari Eason 2-hand shoves Jameer Watkins so he falls down, like straight up. The refs call nothing.
No call.
No call. No, they didn't see anything. They didn't see anything. 2-hand shoves him. Houston scores very easily because the whole Wizards team has turned around like, our guy just fell down. Nothing was called. Okay, we're just going to do this. Then Houston scores. Then going back on defense, Tari Eason shoves him again. He shoves Jameer Watkins again. Trae Young walks onto the court from the bench. He is not suited up yet. He has not debuted yet. He was in street clothes, in a hoodie. He walks onto the court while the game is still going on. They have not called like everything to be done yet. The ref immediately looks at Trae Young. Trae Young continues to keep like complaining about this call. The ref looks at him and tees him up and throws him out of the game. Meanwhile, nothing has been called on the actual game between Tari Eason and Jameer Watkins yet, but they've already thrown Trae Young out of the game. Both teams meet at half court. The refs then stop everything. The refs toss Trae Young immediately. They review everything. Tari Eason is ejected with 2 technicals, and he was upset about it. Oh, yeah. Were you upset about it? Did you think that something else was going to happen?
What?
Jameer Watkins gets a tech, which the Wizards broadcast was like the whole time. I think it was Drew Gooden on the broadcast was just like, watch Jameer Watkins is going to get a tech for this. Watch, Jameer Watkins is going to get a tech. Drew Gooden said that like 8 times throughout the whole review, and yes, he got a tech for it. And then Tari Eason's leaving the bench. He turns around as the assistant coach is escorting him out, turns around and yells something else at Jameer Watkins and just like, all right, you come, like after the game, like you come here to me, and like yelling again at him. And like, then Houston was up 14 for like in the last 3 minutes, and Washington tried to make them, they tried to make them fight for it. But that third quarter, insanity, which is just what happens on a Monday night now.
I mean, that's what we get now. It's like every Monday I look at the slate and I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what we get. And there's going to be at least one crazy thing that happens now. It's like guaranteed on when it's Nick and Camille, it's going to be something crazy in the NBA.
We had the Trae Young trade
without playing a game yet. I tell you one thing though, that does endear you to your teammates and to that city of like, man, look at him fighting for us already. Like, and knowing he's gonna make his debut this week, like, you feel good about that. Of like, he's hyped, he's ready to play. Let's get to it.
Trae Young tweeted after the game, "Don't expect me to get ejected too many times more, DC. But I'm definitely bringing that energy and competitiveness whenever I'm back for my brothers." And you know who's always bringing the energy is Abdullah Ayoub, Locked On Wizards. Always excited, walking out of the stadium. You could just feel it was a loss. Did not feel like one to him.
Washington Wizards fall to the Houston Rockets 123-118. Lots of stuff to break down. Ben crossed paths with Senator Ted Cruz. I ran into Kevin Durant's mom.
Wait, what?
Commanders left tackle.
Wait. Rewind to run that back.
When I watched this video and he sent it to me, I had to rewind it. Did he say Ted Cruz?
Right.
And then I had to walk out.
He's not referring to Grayson Allen.
It was not. No, they're not playing the Suns tonight. They were playing the Rockets. But then I had to step outside to see if it was snowing outside. Just to see.
Tackle. Laramie Tunsil was in the building. Trae Young getting ejected without even debuting as a Wizard. He ran onto the court. Jameer Watkins, Terry Eason went at it. Lots of things to be definitely highlighted. But, I mean, Bilal Coulibaly tonight, 23 points. You love to see a 5 of 7 from three-point land. This is the offensive performance that Wizards fans have been dying to see from Bilal, and you're hoping to see more of it. He can build off it. Sharif Cooper, 21 points. Trae Young was also reported that he will be making his Wizards debut Thursday against the Utah Jazz. We'll be on a minute restriction. Hopefully there will be no suspension after the ejection today, but lots of things happen. Wizards ultimately lose, but it was a competitive game. Hail the Wizards.
It's like the Ninja Turtles are escaping the sewers.
It's like someone got hurt in the background. I'm childish for laughing, but as soon as I heard like, is it a soundboard? What is happening? Be safe out there, AB.
He didn't have a soundboard. He was just walking. He was walking outside. What's happening in DC tonight? I don't know what's happening in DC, but the Rockets get a win, but the Wizards did make them work for it. Jackson Gatlin, explain why.
And Alperen Sengun combined for 62 points, and Reed Sheppard flirts with a triple-double in the Rockets' 123-118 win against the Wizards. What's up? This is Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked On Rockets. And first things first, the final score does not do this game justice. The Rockets were up 123-110 with like 70 seconds to go, and Washington ripped off like 8 very quick points at the end. It was not a real comeback. It wasn't a close game. Sorry, Wizards fans. The important takeaway for the Rockets from this one, though, is the continued emergence of Reed Sheppard, flirting with a triple-double in this one, 19.7 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 steals, a career high in assists and steals in this game for Reed Sheppard. And most importantly, just how much better everybody else on the floor looks with Reed Sheppard in the starting lineup, how much more comfortable Alperen Sengun looks out there, the blossoming two-man game between those two guys, Reed Sheppard as the table setter for this group, a skill set that the Rockets have been sorely missing all season long without Fred VanVleet. Reed Sheppard needs to stay in the Rockets starting lineup. The one bummer from this game, Amin Thompson leaving early with what looked like a tweaked ankle. Hopefully nothing serious for him, but this is something that hopefully the Rockets and Reed Sheppard can continue to build on.
No mention of Tari Eason trying to hurt anybody else. No mention from Jackson. Go check out Locked On Rockets, Locked On Wizards for more on those teams. We'll have more on Locked On NBA Daily with Wes, Matt, and Hayes. So go check out that show. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA Game Night. We'll be back tomorrow night. Every game, every night.